Hi there. Most likely this year, you will have spoken to family, friends, and colleagues remotely via the internet. That is how we've been able to make this podcast. Therefore, it's very likely that you've experienced those amazing audio special effects like compression, lag, and my personal favorite, sounding like a robot. So don't you worry, we've worked very hard and managed to achieve those exact same special effects on this podcast at times, so that we remain on brand with most people's 2020. I hope you enjoy the show.
This is the Lockdown Hotline Sessions with your host, Danielle Nolan.
Will somebody please answer that?
Hello, and welcome to our first ever episode of the Lockdown Hotline Sessions with me, your host, Danielle Lonan. This is a podcast where we put identical questions to all of our guests, but they mix it up, spice it up, and entertain us with their unique take on COVID and lockdown in 2020. Today's guest is Vaughan Miller. Vaughan was born in Parramatta, New South Wales, but now lives in Melbourne, Australia. He's an IT tech guy with 15 years plus experience and likes to keep fit, play games, and relax. Vaughan Miller, hello and welcome. Thank you for joining me. How are you?
I'm good, Danielle. How are you?
I'm very, very well. I'm so excited that you decided to be the guinea pig for me.
No, thanks so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
So, as you know, we ask identical questions to all of our guests. You are the first cab off the rank. Are you ready to start?
Certainly am. Looking forward to it. Go ahead.
Fantastic. Okay, so question number one. Can you tell us a little bit more about yourself that perhaps wasn't covered in the introduction?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, look, keeping with the fit thing, I played a lot of basketball. So even for, a short guy, or fairly short guy, shall we say, I do like to keep fit. Played basketball for probably since I was at school for about 5 or 6 years. Trained pretty hard. So, but after school, I think work and everything else and life in general sort of got to me. And, I lost a lot of the fitness. So I'm sort of getting back into it now.
Oh, that's great to hear. I should take some lessons from you.
Happy to give you a one-on-one.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, so question number two. What is your current location and what is the state of lockdown there?
Yeah, look, I've been sort of travelling probably for the last couple of years between Sydney and Melbourne, back and forth. Based in Melbourne. Came back to Melbourne late last year and literally started a new position earlier this year in a new job and pretty much went straight into lockdown. So since sort of March, been in lockdown basically to almost till today.
Wow.
So it's been a long haul and it's been obviously very stressful. I've got a studio in the city that I live in. So, it can get very lonely and isolated. So it's been pretty tough.
I can imagine it has. I've been watching it on the news and it's, really tough for everyone down there in Melbourne and Victoria.
Yeah, and it hasn't been fun. Pretty much no shops open. The city's been deserted for months. It's only just in the last few weeks that it's been really sort of picking up. I'd say it's probably about quarter to maybe a third of what it should be and what it has been. So there's still a long way to go, and a lot of shops are still closed. And there's going to be a lot of hurt for a lot of retailers and a lot of people in general. So the recovery is going to be pretty long term. So.
Well, I'm a big fan of Melbourne. I love going down there and, Melbourne's always vibrant and exciting and it's full of creative spirit. So I feel that, anywhere in Australia, the guys in Victoria and Melbourne will be the people to go, yeah, we can do this. We can try and get back to some sort of normality, hopefully in the near future.
Yeah, definitely. And I think the Melbourneian spirit is definitely still around and still here. It's really good to see some buskers on the streets and in the malls and so forth, that the whole Melbourne culture has been. So, yeah, look, it's a good feeling. And I think a lot of people are optimistic that, we'll have that spirit going through Christmas and New Year's and slowly get back to what it was and, have that great food, coffee and, arts and creative culture come back to the CBD. So.
Well, I look forward to watching the progress of Melbourne. So You've kind of answered question number 3, but I'm still going to ask it. Are you still in the same location as pre-COVID in early March this year? And are you still doing the same thing right now that you were then?
Yeah, look, definitely. Still in the same spot. Obviously, it was very hard. I'm looking at possibly moving, but at this stage, yeah, still staying in the city, but just to a bigger apartment because I was sort of in between jobs and moving, from Sydney to Melbourne. So yeah, definitely we'll be looking for a bigger place soon. And obviously everything's closed. Everything was closed and still sort of closed. So can't really do much probably till sort of early next year, sort of first quarter.
No, fair enough. When I say doing the same thing, like if you were a basketball player in March, are you still a basketball player now in November?
Yeah, look, the fitness and outdoor sporting grounds have just opened up literally in the last weeks. Yeah, got the ball ready. Definitely looking forward to getting back on the court, do a bit of exercise and, really sort of kick it back in to what I was many years ago. But definitely lost a bit over the last year or so, but definitely looking forward to getting back on the court. So.
Okay, I think this is my favorite question of them all, but since COVID-19 and its restrictions started, what do you miss doing that you can't do right now?
Oh, look, it definitely, I mean, because it was such a strict lockdown, the freedom aspect of just going out to do what you need to do or whenever you want to do it. I mean, we were restricted down to the point where we could only leave our places for about 1 hour of exercise a day, and we couldn't even go to the shops. It was very, very restricting. So, being able to just sort of leave your house and go and do something, whether it's a walk or whether it's go to a cafe or grab a coffee, all that was basically disappeared overnight. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think the freedom part of things is probably the one that I think most people in Melbourne have missed, and are glad to have back some of that. But yeah, definitely being able to just sort of go out whenever and do whatever.
Yeah, when your liberties are taken away like that, I can imagine it'd be pretty hard.
Yeah, definitely. And I think I mean, everybody sort of knew what was going on, and obviously there'd be some people that would complain about it
Of
and
course.
say this is an injustice, so to speak. But we all pulled together and did it as a collective, and the majority of us, and everyone got through it, and it was very emotional when it got lifted. I mean, whether it was people from work or myself, and there was this massive sigh of relief, and a lot of people just burst into tears because it just you got through it.
Yeah.
So
On a smaller note, I saw in the news today at Sydney Airport, it's been the first day in, I think, 4.5 months that there has been a flight from Melbourne to Sydney, which is one of the busiest air traffic flights in the world. And because it was the first flight, there were people at Sydney Airport singing, giving out coffees and everything like that. And it became really emotional because, no one has been able to come up from Melbourne to Sydney or vice versa. So I can understand all about, letting go those emotions.
oh yeah, and definitely, and I think just as an Australian in general, whether you're from Queensland, WA, New South Wales, or whatever state really, any of the other states, they may not have hit the brunt of the strict lockdowns that Victoria had, but everybody's in it together, and the emotions do run right across Australia. So proud day to be an Australian.
Absolutely.
We've almost got this thing beat, so yeah, it's good.
No,
It's a
no,
good feeling.
I absolutely agree with that. Okay, so we're going to move on to our next question. And I just want to say sleeping is a perfectly acceptable answer if that's your thing. What skill
Sure.
do you feel you have improved at during this lockdown time?
Yeah, look, I mean, I'm a pretty patient person being, in tech support and so forth, just in general. But I think learning to, be in that isolation and have patience with yourself and get through things and not overthink things as much. So I think just in general, I think a lot of people have learnt that and improved that skill where things sometimes take time and you just have to really sort of go with it and just sort of go with the flow, so to speak. I mean, I'm a pretty relaxed, easygoing sort of guy, but yeah, I think definitely the skills I've improved there is to further that just in general. So,
Good old patience.
yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. So, on the flip side, what have you discovered that you are absolutely rubbish at?
Yeah, I think being by myself, definitely the creativity of food. So whether it's cooking some toasties or grabbing a pizza here and there when we can. But yeah, I've made some pretty weird concoctions, with limited amount of resources, let's say. So definitely could up those skills. Let's say that.
Could we put you on MasterChef lockdown sessions?
Yeah, you probably could, but I'm not sure how far I'd actually get. And I'm pretty sure some of the chefs, if they were celebrities, they'd be like, who is this bloke? Get him out of here. Definitely worth a shot, though.
Okay. All right. Well, I look forward to your next creative cooking session then. As we've talked about things that, we've improved at, things that we're rubbish at, but we've also covered what we're both grateful for. But can you elaborate on that? What are you grateful for at this moment in time?
Oh, look, I think probably coming from the emotional side of the lockdown, especially with the isolation, I'm grateful just to get through it, mentally as well. It was very taxing,
Yeah.
and I'm grateful for, having friends and loved ones that, have supported me as much as they have to get through it, whether it was, obviously via, video conference or via phone, around Australia. I've got family sort of here and there dotted around. So, yeah, look, I'm definitely grateful to have that because I don't think if I didn't have that, it would have been a lot tougher to be able to, just open up and talk to somebody, and have the people backing you. So, yeah, definitely grateful to have good friends and family,
Yeah.
that care. So,
I think at the end of the day, friends and family, you realize how important that is over everything else.
it makes you really reevaluate, I guess, just in general, everything. And that, you have to have, a good people around you, good family, good friends that, that are willing to show you that, that extension of love and friendship. Yeah, look at, that's what life's about.
No, I couldn't have said it better myself, Vaughan. I really, really agree with everything you've just said then. Now, my next question is a little bit geeky. It could be a wee bit embarrassing, but are you ready for it?
Sure.
Okay.
No, go for it.
What is something that you don't want the rest of the world to know that you may have geeked out on during lockdown, such as binge watching a television show or playing computer games or Nintendo Switches or PlayStation?
Yeah, I think it was funny because, like, when Animal Crossing came out on the Switch, it was literally pretty much when we went into lockdown. I mean, I've played a little bit of Animal Crossing on previous Nintendo platforms, and on mobile as well. And I think a lot of people in the world would probably agree with me where it just consumed everything. It probably soaked up quite a lot of my time. And it was just, I mean, I'm into sim games as well. So I played a lot of, strategy, real-time strategies and turn-based strategies, and also city builders like SimCity and, City Skylines and all that sort of stuff. And I really love, building stuff and being creative with it. But I think Animal Crossing really just took it to another level. And I mean, I even started streaming it on Twitch and with Minecraft as well. So it was probably the one game that throughout all my gaming history that I really, really got into. And finding a pearl dress for my character was like a moment in time where it's like, this is a rare item. I've managed to actually create it.
I'm just going to do a little segue side note here. Vaughan actually also got me onto Animal Crossing on the Nintendo Switch, and I absolutely validate everything that Vaughan has just said because I also became absolutely addicted.
Yeah, no, it's a great game. And look, it came at a time where a lot of people needed it. But I guess just in general, the game itself is great. It's very creative, very open to sharing things as well, which I think is a great asset to it. So, the online play and,
Yep.
You see a lot of people streaming it as well on Twitch and YouTube and everything like that. So it has brought the world together on a lot of fronts, which is not a bad thing. So.
No, absolutely. And it's all those cute little Japanese kind of characters as well.
Yeah, they're so cute, aren't they?
They really are. They really, really are. And I think it's also taught me politeness because every time I leave Nook's Cranny, I always, say thank you to the twins and bow and everything that you can possibly do before you walk out the door, just to say, no, I've done my manners. I feel better now.
Yeah, I think I've said it in quite a few of the streams where, me grabbing a fishing rod and trying to fish for something in the ocean or something in the lake or whatever. Yeah, I just wouldn't do that in real life. But I found myself fishing consistently in Animal Crossing just to see what fish I can get and put them in the museum. And yeah, so it's sort of really being in a virtual world. I did something that I'd never really sort of do in real life because I just find fishing boring as that too. So
Yeah, I think, with the fishing on Animal Crossing, once you kind of find the rhythm and know as soon as that, is it a sinker sinks into the water and you hear that plop, you go, right, I can pull the fish
yeah,
out now because I think I'm there.
yeah, it's very addictive.
No, it really is.
Many times walked into the museum and just stood in front of that huge fish and just watched it for about 5 minutes and then realised, oh, what am I actually doing? Okay.
I actually also like going up to the museum as someone who loves art, and I think it's fantastic that Nintendo is introducing classical art as well to a whole new audience.
Yeah, definitely. And definitely learnt a lot of things about, fish and bugs and not so much art because I've been really bad at collecting it. But yeah, I've definitely collected a few and learnt things. So it's good.
Totally agree. So speaking of being on Twitch and streaming Animal Crossing, this is my last question for you. You're a famous gamer with a big Twitch following. A soap opera has contacted you and, offered you a lead acting role. What type of character are you hoping that they're going to write for you, considering soap operas are a little bit more dramatic than real life?
Yeah, that's a funny question, actually. If you'd asked me that about a year ago, I would have said probably the lead, good guy role. But, after going through all this and, being in the virtual world and, whether it's in Animal Crossing or Minecraft or whatever it is, I think I would really like to play a lead villain.
Yeah, okay.
Because it's out of my comfort zone and something that I think would test me. But yeah, definitely a lead villain.
Wow. And is this lead villain going to have something special like a patch or a limp or, some kind of trademark?
Yeah, look, not being able to have a haircut for the past 8 months, so my hair's probably grown quite long. So probably long hair, that dark Onimus type of character.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a bit like Kylo Ren from Star Wars or something, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Maybe a cool scar.
Yeah. I think all villains have to have some type of scar, don't they?
Yeah, definitely.
Born, sadly, that is the end of the questions. But just before we conclude the interview, a lot of people are working from home at the moment. And we just want to ask you, because you work in IT, what's the one essential tech item that you have bought very recently that you would recommend to anyone?
Funny you say that, actually. My computer actually died. I did have a Surface Pro.
Oh, no.
But I just actually purchased the new MacBook Air, which is a fantastic device.
Is that the brand new one?
Yeah, the brand new one. I just bought the low-end MacBook Air.
Wow.
Yeah, it's probably one of the best devices I've ever used.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, it's just the battery life's insane. The screen's great. The speakers are great. The amount of power this thing pushes out is just insane. Yeah, I mean, it seems fairly limited, obviously, in ports and so forth, but as an overall device, and especially for that price at that low end, it's definitely a great tool. It's helped me a lot in the last, I've only had it for about a week or so, but
Wow.
It's just a game changer. It's a really good device. I'm not really a Mac person overall either, which
Okay.
is being a PC tech guy who plays games.
Yes, of
But
course.
yeah, definitely a good device. So there's a quick tech tip for anyone who's working at home.
Wow.
Battery life is key.
And can you also play games on the computer? It's got enough grunt to, play some hardcore games?
Yeah, look, for what it is, I mean, I've loaded Minecraft on there. It's played at a great resolution. I mean, Minecraft can be pretty demanding once you put packs on there and high-res packs. but it seems to be running fine. I've even played some strategy games on there, City Skylines, which I couldn't even run on my Surface Pro.
Yep, that's a pretty demanding game.
Yeah, look, and it is limited at the moment. There's not much that's been sort of natively done for it because it's a totally new system. But yeah, I can see the future's pretty bright for them if they get a lot of developers starting to code natively for it. Yeah, it's definitely a game changer.
Well, that's very exciting because I've got a very ancient MacBook Pro here that's, kind of chugging along, but might need an upgrade in the near future. So that is very good to know.
Yeah, definitely recommend it. So.
Okay, well, Vaughan, this has been great. I think everyone loves you. They want to follow you on social media. So I'm actually going to share your social media details if that's okay. So if you'd like to follow Vaughan on social media at Twitter and Instagram, it is at @you_got_V3. So I'll say that again, at @you_got_V3. And Vaughan has his own Twitch and YouTube channel as well, mainly with Minecraft and Animal Crossing. Is that right?
Yeah, look, I do dabble in some fighting games too. But yeah, generally at the moment I'm playing Animal Crossing and Minecraft semi-regular now that I've got a new PC as well. So I'll be back on stream. So.
Awesome. Well, look, if you're a big gaming fan and you love those games, go and check him out. You can find him using the same handle at @you_got_V3 on Twitch and on YouTube. The links will also be down in the show's description. And Vaughan, because, you're doing your gaming and you want to kind of do some more branding, are you going to release some merchandise in the near future? Because I'd love you've got V3 t-shirt.
Yeah, a bit of a scoop on that actually. So I'm working towards a brand. I've got some logos and some merch coming up soon. Hopefully, probably in the new year, obviously because of the lockdowns and so forth. The world stopped for quite some time. So early next year, I'm looking at releasing it. So obviously, if you follow me on socials, I'll have links in the bio, and I'm mainly on Twitter. Probably is the best one. I'm more active on, and Instagram. So yeah, follow me on Twitter, and I'll be posting some updates on that. So.
Oh, fantastic. Well, Mr. Vaughan Miller, I love your tech and gaming videos. I'm a big fan. I'm also a big fan that you are my technical support agent as well when I do have technical issues. But thank you so much for being the guinea pig and joining us here on the Lockdown Hotline sessions.
No, it's been great. Really appreciate the time and it's been a pleasure.
Well, as we come to the end of another episode of the Lockdown Hotline Sessions, my name is Danielle Lonan, and you can find me on all the socials at Dame D's Dan. Until next time, thank you so much for listening. Stay safe and be kind. Ciao! This episode of the Lockdown Hotline Sessions was recorded and produced in Sydney in November 2020.